Hey all, welcome to our channel, where we bring you new original stories every week. Before we begin, remember to tap that like button, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Give us a comment down below. Let us know which fairy tale we should cover next. And don't forget to check out our other videos as well. Now, let's begin. Our story today is Rapunzel. Now, this is not the Rapunzel you might be thinking of. This Rapunzel is going to be a bit different. So make sure you stick around until the very end to see what happens. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind and gentle couple who were deeply in love. But their happiness was incomplete because they did not have any children. They lived in a little cottage in a quiet village near a dark and mysterious wood. It was an idyllic spot, perfect for raising a family. But even though years had passed, their home remained empty and silent. Every night the woman would gaze out of her bedroom window, longing for a glimpse of a child playing in the garden. She dreamed of holding a tiny baby in her arms and showering them with all the love and care in the world. As she stared out into the darkness, her eyes fell upon a mysterious garden bathed in the soft glow of the moon. In its center was a magnificent plant unlike any she had ever seen before. Its long flowing leaves shimmered with an otherworldly light, and she couldn't help but reach out and touch them. But just as her fingers brushed against the cool surface of one of the leaves, a jolt of energy coursed through her body. She gasped in surprise and quickly pulled her hand away. Had she imagined it, or was there really magic in the air? In the morning, she told her husband about the garden and the magical plants, and he immediately set out to find it. After walking for what seemed like hours, they finally reached the edge of the garden and their hearts skipped a beat. There in front of them was the plant she had seen in her dream, its leaves reaching towards the sky like eager arms. Without hesitation, the woman stepped over the garden fence and carefully plucked a handful of the plant's leaves. As she did so, she could feel a surge of power coursing through her veins, bringing with it a sense of hope and possibility. Quickly stuffing the leaves into her skirt, she hurried back to the safety of the village, her heart pounding with anticipation. Back in the cottage, she brewed herself a tea, using the Rapunzel leaves she had stolen from the garden. As the steam rose from the cup, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath, allowing the warm liquid to flow down her throat. A wave of energy surged through her body, and suddenly she felt like a new person. Her movements were lighter, her steps were quicker, and she felt a renewed sense of purpose and vitality coursing through her veins. But as the days went by, the woman continued to drink the tea made from the Rapunzel leaves, each sip bringing with it a renewed sense of vigor and strength. One day she noticed a small bump under her blouse and realized that she was going to have a baby. Overjoyed, she shared the news with her husband, and they prepared for the arrival of their first child together. Meanwhile, the owner of the garden, a mysterious and powerful sorceress, had sensed the theft of her precious Rapunzel plants and was determined to get to the bottom of it. Using her powers, she discovered that the thief was the woman from the village, and she was now expecting a baby. The sorceress was furious and demanded that the couple hand over the child once it was born. However, the couple refused, knowing that giving up their baby would break their hearts. As the due date approached, the couple grew increasingly anxious about the sorceress's threat. They tried to come up with a plan to outsmart her, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, the baby arrived and they named her Rapunzel. The sorceress kept her promise and came to collect what she was owed. Despite the parents' desperate pleas, she took the baby without hesitation. The heartbroken parents watched as the sorceress disappeared into the forest with their child in her arms. Now, deep in the heart of the dark wood, hidden from the rest of the world, stood a tall and imposing tower. It was made of dark, sturdy stone and had no door, only a small window near the top that glowed with an ethereal light. No one knew how the sorceress had managed to build such a structure so quickly, but all agreed that it must be her home. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the sorceress reached the tower and carefully climbed to the top. Opening the window, she stepped inside and laid Rapunzel down on a soft bed. Then, turning to the basket beside her, she reached in and pulled out a pair of scissors. With a swift movement, she cut off Rapunzel's long golden hair and braided it tightly, before placing it in a hidden corner of the room. Satisfied with her handiwork, she turned to leave, but not before casting one last glance at the sleeping child. "You may be safe here, little one," she whispered, "but your beauty will be your undoing." With that, she vanished into the shadows, leaving Rapunzel alone in the tower. As the years passed, Rapunzel grew into a beautiful young girl with long flowing hair that reached down to her ankles. She spent her days looking out of the tower window and dreaming of the world beyond the trees. She longed to explore the meadows and forests that she could see from afar, but she knew that she wasn't allowed to leave the tower. But even in her solitude, Rapunzel was not entirely alone. Every now and then, the sorceress would appear, bringing with her the supplies that Rapunzel needed to survive. During these visits, the sorceress would also tell Rapunzel stories about the outside world, which only fueled Rapunzel's desire to see it for herself. One day, while the sorceress was visiting, Rapunzel asked her if she could please be allowed to go outside and play. The sorceress responded by telling Rapunzel a story about a princess who had been cursed by a witch to live in a tower until a handsome prince came to rescue her. And that's why the sorceress said, "You must stay in this tower until a handsome prince finds you and breaks the curse." Rapunzel sighed and looked down at her feet. She knew that she wasn't like the princesses in the stories the sorceress told her. She wasn't waiting for a prince to rescue her because she didn't want to be rescued. She wanted to rescue herself. Years passed and Rapunzel grew into a beautiful young woman. Her hair still reached down to her ankles, and she spent her days dreaming of the world outside the tower. One day, while she was brushing her long locks, she heard a knock at the tower door. Startled, she dropped the brush and ran to hide behind the curtain. The knocking continued, and Rapunzel's heart raced as she wondered who was out there. She had never heard anyone come to the tower before. Cautiously, she peeked out from behind the curtain and saw a man standing at the door. He was dressed in fine clothes, and his face was obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. As Rapunzel watched, the man reached out and knocked again. "Hello," he called out. "Is anyone there?" Rapunzel hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. But then she decided to take a chance. She walked up to the window and leaned out. "Yes," she said, "I'm here." The man's head snapped up and he stared at Rapunzel in amazement. "Who are you?" he asked. "And how can I help you?" Rapunzel hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to say. But then she decided to be honest. "My name is Rapunzel," she said, "and I live in this tower. I haven't seen anyone in years, and I'm starting to get a little lonely." The man smiled and took a step closer. "Well, Rapunzel," he said, "it looks like you found a friend," and with that, he reached out and took her hand. To be continued. That's all for today, but if you want to keep watching, click the link on screen now to watch one of our previous episodes. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. We also suggest you watch another one of our amazing stories,